I was still shivering when I knelt steadily on the ground and hugged Adam's calf. I died of a heart attack 1 second ago, and the next second I was transmigrated into this book where same-sex marriage is legal and started to act recklessly. I transmigrated into the canon fodder male wife of the villainous boss. I disliked the boss for being disabled and kept acting recklessly and having an affair in public. The key is that the boss was pretending to be disabled. He is not only in good health but also strong enough to knock out 10 weaklings like me with one punch. The plot has developed to the point where I got married to the boss and humiliated him in public. It's over. I'm alive, but it seems I won't live long. Adam said coldly, "Let go." I sobbed with snot and tears. "I won't let go, husband. My love for you can be witnessed by the sun and the moon. The reason I spoke ill of you is that I was inferior. I didn't want others to discover your goodness. I was afraid they would compete with me for you, so I deliberately slandered you outside. Husband, what I said is all true. Say something, husband." I was crying so hard with snot and tears that I could hardly speak. There was a deathly silence all around. I admit I was taking a gamble. But if I didn't do this, with the villain's narrow-mindedness, I wouldn't live for more than 2 days. Thinking of this, I really wished I could punch the original owner twice. You're in good health, and your husband doesn't interfere with you. He only transfers money to your card regularly. This kind of dream life is what every lazy person dreams of. Why didn't you cherish it? Besides, from the perspective of a gay man like me, Adam is the perfect type in the gay community. Isn't it just that he has difficulty walking? What a lack of taste. There's a unique charm to being in a wheelchair. Just then, Adam said, "Bodyguards, take him back to the room." I was still optimistic when I was carried up. As long as they don't throw me out like in the original plot. It's just that I don't know the way back to the room. It's really great to have someone carry me. Apparently, I underestimated the perversity of the villain. I was tied to a chair by them. "Guys, let's discuss something," I politely said. "I have no objection to being tied up, but can you put something on my wrists? I have thin skin." Several bodyguards looked at me with straight faces and then at the red marks on my wrists. I have to say, it really looked scary. They exchanged glances and then lowered their heads to make a phone call. After a few words of communication, they tied me even tighter. "Okay, fine. It doesn't matter. I'll just accept it and go to sleep." When Adam came in, he probably didn't expect that I was already snoring in my sleep. He woke me up with a straight face, sat on the wheelchair, and leaned in to look at me. His expression was changeable. "You really have a big heart. Tell me, who on earth are you?" I was still half asleep. Suddenly seeing such a handsome face only 2 fingers away from me, I thought I was having a good dream and quickly leaned in. "Handsome guy. Come on. Give me a kiss." But I kissed the air. Adam grabbed my chin. "Are you pretending to be crazy?" I was scared awake. This is the villain who could take my life at any moment in the original plot. I stammered. "If I say that I've been in love with you for a long time, is it still too late to call you husband now?" Adam said indifferently, "You should ask me if I'll believe it." "Oh." I honestly repeated his words, "Will you believe it?" Adam looked at me coldly and increased the strength in his hand. "Don't challenge my patience." After thinking for a moment, I decided to just expose myself. "I don't know either. I just opened my eyes and I was here. I swear if I tell even a single lie, I won't be able to eat meat or make money in my life. This is the most poisonous oath I could think of." Adam paused for a moment and suddenly snapped his fingers. Several bodyguards sprang out from around and unplugged the wires that had been attached to me at some unknown time. One of them looked at Adam respectfully and said, "The instrument shows no reaction. He isn't lying." "Good grief. Brother is being sincere with you, but you're playing mind games with me. You just use a lie detector, such a high-tech thing, on me directly? Don't I have human rights?" I struggled a bit and found that I was still firmly trapped in the chair. "Oh, I don't." I looked at Adam pitifully and said, "Husband, can you untie me now? My wrists hurt and my legs are numb." Adam frowned and asked, "What did you call me?" "Hussy." Under Adam's gloomy stare, I swallowed the word "band" back. I respectfully changed my words and said, "Boss, can I follow you from now on? You see, I'm new here and don't know the place well." Adam turned his head and looked at the leading bodyguard and said, "Tie him to my bed." "Wait, is it moving so fast?" I glanced at Adam's tense jawline and blurted out, "No need to tie me up. I can go there by myself." Adam looked at me as if I were an idiot. The situation evolved to me lying on the bed while Adam sat in the wheelchair, staring intently at me and asking, "What's your purpose?" On a whim, I remembered the classic line from a romance drama and said, "I'm not here to harm you. I'm here to love you." Adam's eyelids twitched, and for the first time, an understandable emotion appeared on his cold face. Utterly speechless, he said in a deep voice, "What's wrong with you? I'm lovesick for you." Then Adam left. His face was ashen. He turned the wheelchair and left quite quickly. I took a big step forward and said, "Husband, I'll help you." Adam stared at me coldly for a while and then said meaningfully, "Okay, then let's do it together." When I wheeled the big shot in front of everyone, I felt like a commoner in a noble's den. Basically, no one even glanced at me. I couldn't have asked for more and shrank into a corner to eat small cakes. Just as I was about to reach out for the fifth one, my hand was grabbed. A greasy man with a slicked back hairstyle looked at me affectionately and said, "My darling, how's the matter going?" "Help, I'm going to throw up." After a second, with my smart little brain, I quickly sorted out the relationships. The greasy man standing opposite is the original owner's lover. He asked the original owner to steal the tender documents from Adam's computer, wanting to take the opportunity to backstab the villain. I thought for a moment, then hooked my finger at him and said, "It's not a good place to talk here. Come with me." He followed me all the way to the toilet and his expression became more and more eager. "How's it going? Have you already stolen it from that cripple?" I slowly rolled up my sleeves and, under his eager gaze, landed a beautiful straight punch on his nose. He covered his nose in so much pain that he couldn't even cry out. I moved my body a bit and then gave him 2 more hard kicks. Trying to plot against my husband. Go to hell. I stood up feeling relieved and locked eyes with Adam, who was pushing the door open. On an impulse, I became extremely enthusiastic. "Husband, are you here to use the toilet too? Let me help you." Adam glanced at me and then wheeled his wheelchair over to that man. The wheelchair wheels very precisely ran over that man's hand. The man let out a shrill scream and was almost in a state of fainting from the pain. Adam gave the man a cold look. His pupils were deep and his eyebrows and eyes were as sharp as knives. How can someone be so handsome even with a livid face? I stood aside, clicking my tongue in admiration. "I'll just kiss my handsome husband to death." Adam froze for a moment. His cold expression was like a broken mask, showing a strong sense of disbelief. "Thomas, shut up." "Oh no," I accidentally blurted out my true thoughts. His tone was quite fierce, but paired with his extremely red ear tips. No matter how you look at it, he was just putting on a show. I gave a silly laugh and pushed him out. "Let's go, husband. Don't bother with him." Adam stopped the wheels, but his voice was obviously not as loud as before. "Don't call me that randomly." Now, not only his ears but also his face were red. Who would have thought that the villainous boss was so innocent? "I'm in love." Then I looked at the man lying on the ground with a contorted face in pain. I shook my head. It was obvious who was better. Did the original owner of this body never had a taste of the good things? She didn't want such a handsome husband and insisted on seeking death. When going out, the male lead, Lincoln, was hugging a girl. The two were deeply in love and looked very affectionate. In the original plot, the female lead, Lily's family, was exactly the murderer who Adam's parents. But just because the leads fell in love, the male lead righteously told Adam to let go of his hatred and not to harm the female lead's parents. One is the daughter of the enemy and the other is his own cousin. In my opinion, the villain, Adam, was still too good-tempered in the early stage. If I heard Lincoln say such stupid and irresponsible words, I would have smashed his head with a wine bottle long ago. Seeing us approaching, Lincoln looked very defensive and protected Lily behind him. I pushed Adam and made a cool sudden stop and a drifting turn. I left a cool side profile in front of the male and female leads and then left without hesitation. Lincoln's face was so gloomy that it seemed to drip water. "Adam, didn't you understand what I told you last time? I'm warning you one last time. Lily is innocent. You're not allowed to." Hey, he really takes himself seriously. With such a low IQ, what kind of male lead are you? I imitated his way and stood in front of Adam, rolling up my sleeves. If Lily is innocent, isn't my husband innocent? Get it clear? The people of the Lin family did such despicable things and deserve to die. You and Lily are sweetly in love. Why should you drag my husband to pay for your love? Lincoln was stunned and his face turned ashen. What does it matter to you? Good question. Then what does it matter to you if my husband takes revenge? The angrier I got, thinking of the original ending where Adam was betrayed by everyone. I immediately took out $20 from my bag. Go to the hospital to check your brain as soon as possible. I hope it's still curable. Lincoln was furious. He grabbed me and the next second his fist was about to hit my face. He was stopped by Adam. Although sitting in a wheelchair, his eyes looking at him were full of disdain and coldness. Let go. Lincoln couldn't believe it, brother. It was clearly her. She's your sister-in-law. Show some respect. Also, I don't think I did anything wrong. Not touching Lily is the last bit of kindness I'm showing you. I gave a thumbs up, whistled and said, "Husband, you're so cool." Adam gave me a helpless look with a hint of a smile on his lips. Stop being so talkative. Push me to see Mr. John. All day long, I pushed Adam up and down in the villa. I took him through the garden on the lawn. While shouting, "Here comes the little flying stick," I rushed towards the flowers and plants. The butler's face turned green when he saw me. These were all bought by Adam at a high price. That rose costs 10 million per stem and the orchid costs 15 million. I was frantically calculating in my mind. Oh no, I couldn't pay it off even if I started working since the Qin dynasty. Adam interrupted him. It doesn't matter. It's not much money. Thank you, I'm really impressed. I don't know how the butler spread the word later, but because of my casual remark, Adam replaced all the flowers and plants I crushed with vegetable seeds. The title of the male fox spirit who bewitched Adam was officially established. Originally, Thomas had a bad reputation and now it's even more outrageous. Those people in the villa avoid me when they see me for fear that I'll whisper in Adam's ear. I stayed in the big villa for a month like this. To be honest, it's really awesome. Not only do I have no worries about food and drink. When I'm bored, there's a gym on the 5th floor, a game room on the 3rd floor, and a home theater. Sitting in the home theater with a starry ceiling, I eagerly grabbed Adam's hand and said sincerely, "Husband, I love you to death." This time, Adam didn't shake off my hand. He just averted his gaze and told the butler to bring up 2 more durians and mangosteens. Who can understand? I immediately took out my phone and went to Jihu to answer, "What's it like to have a godlike husband?" But then, just after I gained 2 caddies, I was kidnapped by that bastard Lincoln. Those guys covered their faces and tied me to a chair. Seriously, this feeling is quite familiar. I stared at Lincoln expressionlessly. Are you crazy? He looked indignant. As long as you make Adam stop targeting the Lin family, I'll let you go. I'm really fed up. Is this something a male protagonist would do? I tried to make my language more polite. No offense, dude, are you out of your mind? Does the whole world have to take care of your feelings? The 2 in the Lin family, Adam's parents, who are also your uncles. It's okay that you don't take revenge, but you still forbid Adam from taking revenge? Can this love extend your life, or will the world end without it? What do you know? Lincoln looked ugly. He set up a scheme to deceive Uncle Miles into financing, and the Lin family is about to go bankrupt. Lincoln frowned tightly. Do you think he's a good person with clean hands? You're living with a psychologically dark devil. Don't you think it's terrifying? As long as Adam stops and doesn't push Uncle Miles to the brink, I'll let you go back. Is Uncle Miles' life the only life that matters and your own uncle's life doesn't count? He wasn't deliberately delaying the loan. At your age, you don't have the ability to distinguish right from wrong. You force everyone in the world to make concessions for your love. Who do you think you are? MMPH. This male lead has such a dirty heart. There came the sound of a fight outside the door. In a panic, Lincoln put a knife to my neck and looked nervously. Several burly bodyguards surrounded Adam. His well-defined hands rested on the wheelchair, the veins bulging, and he frowned tightly. Lincoln, have I been too nice to you that you dare to do such a thing? His voice was sonorous and forceful and his face was grim. Coupled with his delicate face, cold eyes, and slightly pursed thin lips, he looked much softer than his words. I wanted to kiss him. Oh no, my head is itching. I must be growing a love-struck brain. I blurted out, "Husband, you're so handsome." Before I could admire the blushing Adam, I felt a chill on my neck. Lincoln said coldly, "As long as you promise not to target the Lin family anymore, I won't hurt him. I'm really done with him. Where's there even a bit of a male lead's demeanor? Isn't he just a complete fool?" I looked at Adam pitifully and blinked desperately at him. "Husband, I'm so scared." My voice was gentle and lingering. I even disgusted myself. Lincoln was also extremely disgusted. Frowning, he looked at Adam and said, "Brother, how could you fall for such a thing? He's so effeminate. It's disgusting. This guy really talks so rudely. He doesn't understand the little affection between us husbands at all." I looked at Adam pitifully. "Husband, say something, husband." Adam remained calm. "Stop pretending." "All right then. I suddenly stood up from the chair, grabbed his wrist in a reverse hold, and slammed Lincoln to the ground. No manners. You should call me sister-in-law. No. Call me brother's husband. After thinking for a long time, I came up with a new term. Lincoln was still lying on the ground, too stunned to react, when he was held down by the bodyguards brought by Adam. He looked utterly stunned. How could you? I blinked and pointed at the bodyguard standing behind Adam. Don't you think he looks familiar? I had noticed it when they tied me up. The other person gave me a blade. More importantly, he said to me, Mr. Gu is very worried about you. Ah, my wonderful husband with a tough tone but a soft heart. I rotated my wrist and walked towards Adam. Before I could utter all the flirtatious words in my mind, Lincoln on the ground suddenly sprang up, holding a knife and charging towards Adam. No one expected that he would attack Adam. The bodyguards were still standing there in a daze. I suddenly pushed Adam away and kicked Lincoln hard in the abdomen. In the chaos, I felt something slash across my left arm. Lincoln, who was kicked to the ground, was suppressed by the bodyguards again. This time, those burly men didn't care about his status and held him down tightly. Lincoln's veins on his neck were bulging. He gritted his teeth and said, Adam, let me go. Aren't you ashamed of what you've done? Lily is innocent. She didn't do anything. You can't be so heartless. It was obvious that he was really angry and was standing up for Lily and the Lin family. In his eyes, Adam was an unscrupulous and unjust villain. To be honest, I'm really tired of scolding. If he were really as righteous as he claimed, why did he kidnap me? Am I not innocent? To put it bluntly, people like Lincoln are double standards. I directly took out my phone and called the police. Probably never expecting that he would end up wearing handcuffs, Lincoln was still in a daze when he was taken away. How dare you? Do you know who I am? I shrugged and didn't bother to pay attention to him. Fiction is not a law-free zone. Even the male protagonist has to abide by laws and regulations, okay? He then turned to look at Adam and gritted his teeth. You targeted the Lin family first. Once I find the evidence, I won't let you go. Adam, out of respect for you being my cousin, I didn't want to go this far. It's you. Adam didn't even bother to respond. He turned to look at me. His brows furrowed slightly. You're injured. Come here. Only then did I belatedly feel the stinging pain in my left arm. I walked over to him, looking wronged. Adam grabbed my wrist, glanced down, and stopped the police. Then, with Lincoln wearing a confident expression on his face, he said coldly, we demand a medical examination. Once we go to the hospital, just by pretending to be dizzy for a couple of times, there's a chance that Lincoln will get a heavier sentence. Not to mention that I'm bleeding. Lincoln obviously realized this too. His eyes widened. Just as he was about to shout something, Adam waved his hand as if looking at someone carrying away a large piece of discarded garbage. All right, take him away. I'll take my. He hesitated for a moment, then looked up at me. After meeting my gaze, he quickly lowered his eyes. His ears were red. I was very considerate. You can call me husband. I'll also call you husband. We'll each call our own and it won't conflict. Adam pursed his lips, turned his head away from me, and politely nodded to the police. Thank you for your trouble. You can contact my lawyer for the rest. What a shy man. Lily came to find me. I don't know where she got the information. She very generously slapped a check in front of me. Name your price. As long as you can get Adam to stop pursuing Brother Yan's responsibility, this 5 million is yours. To be honest, I really need the money. During this period, the wound on my arm had actually healed. But Adam insisted on keeping me at home to rest. I pushed him around the garden with one hand and watched old movies in the home theater. Our relationship advanced by leaps and bounds. We've reached the stage where we can put our arms around each other and kiss occasionally. I'm over the moon. When I was wandering around the house yesterday, I accidentally found out that in 3 days it would be the first anniversary of my marriage to Adam. I thought this was simply a perfect opportunity for me to make a move, so without saying a word, I stuffed a stack of money in my pocket and went out. After wandering around the mall for a long time, I found that there was one thing quite realistic in this novel world. That is, I'm still as poor as ever. I'm clearly poor and remain true to my poor self. I pressed my left hand with my right hand and my right hand with my left hand. I barely managed to control my desire to take the money. Don't you know why Adam is pursuing Lincoln's responsibility? Lily's expression was a bit unnatural for a moment. I raised my eyebrows when I saw that. Obviously, she knew. Not only did she know, but it was very likely that she had also played a part in Lincoln's stupid deed. The love between these two people isn't just about not caring about others' lives. It seems to have reached the level of not being able to show their deep love without hurting others. When they're in love, it's the people around them who suffer. Aren't they just crazy? I politely declined. Sorry, my husband is richer. You might as well give this money to the lawyer. Maybe it can reduce the sentence. But anyway, I'll definitely make Lincoln the first male lead to go to jail. Upholding legal justice in the novel world is my bounden duty. Lily's eyes turned red and the tears welled up and fell at once. I know you think it's too little, but as long as Lincoln gets out, he definitely won't let Adam off. Don't you always want to divorce him? I'll ask Brother Yen to help you. Just for Adam's little bit of money, are you willing to be tied to that disabled man for the rest of your life? No. I scratched my head and said sincerely, I'm not after the money. I really like him for who he is. I'm lusting after his body. The last 6 words were spoken firmly. Lily suddenly fell silent with a somewhat panicked expression. I was speechless. What? Is there something wrong with what I said? You don't know how great Adam is. He's so handsome and has a good figure. Sitting in a wheelchair, he also has a unique. A familiar coughing sound came from behind. I turned around and met Adam's gaze directly. Now, I'm going to look on Jihu right away. What should I do if the person I made bold and lustful remarks about hears them? Is there still a chance to save my image? When Lily was politely escorted away by the bodyguards beside Adam, she was still struggling. Brother Yen is your cousin. How can you be so cruel? I'm really tired of complaining and too lazy to scold. Looking at this, she and Lincoln are really a match made in heaven. I wish them well and hope they stay together forever. I'll swallow the key. Just don't die in front of my door. I sincerely sighed. The wise don't fall in love. The strong pursue studies from undergraduate to postgraduate to doctoral degrees. This saying makes sense. Adam suddenly picked up the conversation. So, according to this, you shouldn't have married me. I'm different. I was already a doctor before I got into this. I've suffered enough from studying. It's time to taste the sweetness of love. After saying that, I met Adam's deep eyes. Suddenly, I realized what was going on and pointed at him painfully. You tricked me into talking. He grabbed my hand and held it tightly. Let me let you taste the sweetness. Just holding hands and you think it can make up for it? I snorted and squatted down in front of him. It's not sweet enough. Unless you give me a kiss, this matter won't end. Adam looked around nervously. Let's do it at home. I gave him a smooch on the lips. Of course, a relationship should be sticky and sweet to be interesting. Moreover, Adam is even nicer to kiss than he looks. The night before Lincoln was sentenced, I found Adam smoking in the living room. Adam was holding a cigarette between his slender fingers. The scarlet tip of the cigarette made his well-defined hand look even fairer. Under the warm yellow light, white smoke was swirling. His eyebrows and eyes were bathed in it. Instead of looking gentle, he looked even colder and lonelier. When he saw me coming, he obviously paused for a moment, quickly stubbed out the cigarette, and said hoarsely, "Can't sleep alone?" It made me angry just thinking about it. Which married couple still sleeps in separate rooms after getting along for more than 3 months? So during this period, I went into Adam's room every day. Had a nightmare. Sleepwalked here. So scared to sleep alone. I used all kinds of excuses in turn. However, Adam was as hard-hearted as iron and was determined to sleep in a separate room from me. During that time, I even secretly searched for secrets to nourish the kidneys on Jihu, and unsurprisingly, Adam found out. I lost all my pocket money for those 3 days. The midnight snack session was also canceled and replaced with morning exercise. It was real exercise. I'm numb. I won't say who was forced to get up at 6:30 in the morning to ride a stationary bike. Thinking of this, I summoned up my courage and let out a whine. It's so late and you're still not sleeping. Is it because you're getting old and have poor sleep quality? You're only 2 months older than me. Adam mentioned my real age. During this time, he even found out what color of underwear I like to wear the most. I probably only share the same appearance and name with this character. Everything else is completely different. Adam waved his hand in the air to disperse the smell of cigarettes, then reached out his hand to me, signaling me to come over. I sat on his lap. It's like stacking wheelchairs. Adam didn't push me away. Holding his hands up, he said helplessly, "Sit on the sofa." I won't. I leaned hard against Adam, feeling that I was just like a bully. Adam was like an innocent young man being harassed by me and unable to resist. Hee, rubbing my hands like a fly. After a long while of fooling around, Adam's eyebrows gradually relaxed. He tightened his arms around me slightly and said, "At first, my relationship with Lincoln was okay. My mom really liked Lincoln and always told me to take good care of him. I remember when we were kids, he also liked to come to my house to play. My mom was really good at cooking and liked to make some desserts by herself. Lincoln loved egg pudding, so she always made it for him. I would stand beside her, smelling the fragrance of eggs and butter, waiting for the sunlight to shine in. The day after Adam's family was destroyed, he had a car accident and was declared by the doctor to be confined to a wheelchair for life. The only thing that has kept him alive all these years is the thought of revenge. As a result, Lincoln just told him to give it up right away. How ironic. Clearly, it was an elder who had been very kind to him that was Yet Lincoln only saw Lily's suffering and showed not a hint of gratitude. Truly, one won't feel the pain until the whip strikes oneself. I grabbed Adam's hand and said, "It's not worth it for such an ungrateful person. Just pretend that your smart and well-behaved cousin is dead. And the one alive now is just the placenta that grew out of his late-stage love brain." Adam, actually, I'm not sad anymore. Really? I happily swayed my legs. When did you figure it out? He stared fixedly at me, the bottom of his eyes like a magnet, trying to completely draw me into those deep eyes. His voice melted into the evening warm breeze. When you came out to see me, when you sat on my lap, when you said Lincoln was a placenta. To be honest, the last sentence was a bit of a mood, but it doesn't matter. I know Adam isn't good at sweet talk. These are his clumsy but sincere words from the heart. I leaned my head on his shoulder socket, secretly blowing on his neck, deliberately softening my voice. "So, sleep with me tonight." This guy, Adam, actually just pushed his wheelchair forward, and I almost fell. Adam said indifferently, "Come on, I'll take you back to your room." The last 4 words were spoken forcefully. He was simply the epitome of uprightness. I was furious. "Tell me honestly, are you really impotent? Don't push me." "Adam, I'm not afraid of you anymore. Do you believe that I'll hire 18 male models behind your back and touch them all day long? MMM. Soft lips pressed against mine, silencing all my words, probably because we had been fooling around for too long. There was no smell of cigarettes between Adam's lips and teeth, only the faint scent of aftershave. "Good boy, you've learned some bad tricks." I sat back on my own bed with weak legs, still savoring the taste just now. Adam suddenly turned his wheelchair around and sat at the border between light and dark at the door, quietly looking at me and saying, "You won't, right?" I scratched my head and replied, "Of course not. I was just joking." Adam seemed to smile and nodded, saying, "That's good. Otherwise, I can't help but break your legs and lock you up." What a cruel thing to say. Seeing me suddenly straighten my body, Adam smiled. "I'm just joking too. I couldn't bear to do that." He lifted his lips into a smile. "Go to sleep. Good night." Goodness, I seem to have gotten a Yandere. As expected of the big villain. I love him even more. Just as this excited thought popped into my head, suddenly a mechanical sound rang out. A very angry voice said, "Look at what you've done." I was stunned for a moment, recalled the routines in those transmigrating into a book stories and tentatively called out system. The other side got even angrier. "Do you know what you've done? The male lead is about to go to prison. No need to thank me. It's all his just deserts." To be precise, it was seeing Thomas open his eyes again. Thomas looked around, frowning tightly. "Didn't we agree that I don't have to do the tasks in this world? So annoying. I don't like men." "What's so good about that, Adam? He's not as good as Lily." Such a tasteless guy. I instinctively reached out to punch him. Only after my hand went straight through this body did I belatedly realize it seems that I've become a ghost. The system's tone was also very impatient. "There's been a problem. We didn't expect this suddenly appeared soul to fit so well with this body. Even more unexpectedly, he's actually in a relationship with that villain. You go and take his place first and save the male lead. Are you kidding me? How can I save him? I was once by that crazy Adam. I stared with wide eyes and suddenly remembered the details I didn't pay attention to during our first encounter. No wonder Adam accepted my new identity so quickly. I thought it was because he completely trusted the lie detector. It turns out the more important reason is that he was sure he had gotten rid of the original Thomas. The system sneered Adam is originally a dangerous villain. But it doesn't matter. That fool seems to have completely gained his trust. You just need to put on an act and get Adam to release the male lead. The fool they're talking about, couldn't it be me? I tried many methods, such as running from afar and rushing into the body and trying to float out and shout for help. Not only were they useless, but I couldn't leave this body more than 1 meter away. Thomas was lying in bed, lazily looking at me. I advise you to save your energy. Don't worry, I'm not interested in a rigid man like Adam. Seeing that I didn't say a word, Thomas got even more excited. You know, I was diligently following the plot and originally thought he was a nice guy. Quite patient. I didn't expect him to just start attacking. 1 second I was following the plot and scolding him behind his back. The next second he poisoned me. Then he watched me twitch all over and fall to the ground expressionlessly. He's really completely crazy. I'm really getting more and more curious about how you weren't by Adam. Hey, tell me about it. Anyway, I'll leave once I ensure the plot goes smoothly. What does the plot go smoothly mean? I remember that in the novel, Lincoln brought down the big villain Adam and got all the assets under his name. And Adam went to jail because of his improper competitive means. As for the character, Thomas, after highlighting Adam's ruthless methods, there was no more description. What a lousy plot. Thomas glanced at me and spread his hands. It's just what you think. Adam is doomed to end up alone. Prison is his destiny. Because he hindered the love between the male and female leads. Me. Do you even listen to what you're saying? Do these kind of dumbed-down novels have their own set of laws? Thomas was full of confidence and went to Adam's room as soon as it was dawn. He crouched beside the bed and put his head into Adam's palm, acting coquettishly like I usually do. A chill ran down my spine. It was over. Thomas's must have checked the memories of my interactions with Adam. The posture and the expression made me stunned for 3 seconds. Sure enough, Adam opened his eyes with the same smile as usual. I watched helplessly as Thomas pushed Adam for a walk in the small garden. Seemingly inadvertently, he mentioned Adam's childhood and then the topic naturally turned to Lincoln. Adam always had a gentle smile on his lips and listened quietly, nodding from time to time. The sunshine, the garden, the hidden greenery, and these two men whispering together. All the scenes were so familiar and harmonious. I was even in a daze. It seemed that I was just an insignificant onlooker. Thomas smiled even more deeply. I've thought it over carefully. I'm not going to pursue the matter of being kidnapped. After all, he is your younger brother. I don't want you to bear such a heavy psychological burden. Bullshit. I was so angry that I put my hands on my hips and cursed, "You're so generous. Why didn't Lincoln have any psychological burden when he kidnapped me? You double standard dog. Get out of here." The smile on Adam's lips deepened. So, what are you going to do? Let's withdraw the lawsuit. Don't sue anymore. Peace at home brings prosperity. Home. Adam repeated as if he didn't understand. Thomas held Adam's hands and knelt on one knee in front of his wheelchair, looking very affectionate. Our own little family. I thrust my hand between the two of them and could only stand aside, fuming impotently. Let go of him. Who wants to have a family with you? This is my husband. You're just two. Before I could finish my sentence, Adam suddenly let out a low laugh. You mean, let Lincoln go and preferably let the Lynn family off the hook, right? Thomas' expression stiffened for a moment and he softened his voice. I don't mean that. I just don't want you to go so far. If you treat Lincoln like this, your mother in the afterlife won't be happy either. Right? Adam leaned back, creating some distance between the two of them and withdrew his hands. Not only should I not send Lincoln to prison, on the contrary, I should be sent to jail by him. Also, all the industries under my name should belong to him. Lily and Adam will live a rich and happy life on the company I founded. Isn't this the ending you've arranged for me? Thomas' expression completely lost control. He seemed to want to escape, but after standing up, his legs seemed to have no strength and he fell to the ground again. What did you do? Just a little anesthetic. Adam slowly showed the needle between his fingers. Staring at Thomas, as long as you bring him back, I cannot hold Lincoln accountable. How did you recognize me? Adam sneered, because your eyes are dirty. When he looks at me, the smile in his eyes is about to burst out. Also, he would never say such high-sounding words. His words may be a bit vulgar, but he is very cute. I was both touched and angry. What do you mean by vulgar? His words may be rough, but the meaning is right. I've said it. What good words can I use to describe someone like Lincoln? Adam wheeled his wheelchair closer, lowered his head with a gloomy expression like a ghost from hell. He said word by word, so give him back to me. Do you think I want to do this? I've long since grown tired of this lousy task. Thomas, lying on the ground, gritted his teeth. Here he is. One crazy guy and one stupid idiot. You two are truly a perfect match. Adam nodded slightly with an almost joyful expression. Thank you, I think so too. Almost the next second I felt a suction force. When I opened my eyes again, I found myself still lying on the grass with roses under me. Oh no. I immediately sprang up. Oh no, now the old butler will secretly scold me to death. Because I like to push Adam around the garden, crushing many of the old butler's flowers and plants. If I remember correctly, this cluster of roses was painstakingly rescued by him. Adam smiled and reached out his hand to me in the sunlight. Come here. Are you calling a puppy? My legs still felt a bit weak. I imitated his gesture and waved. You come here. Adam wheeled his wheelchair over and offered his neck to my hand. I want you to say that sentence just now. The one about our little home. I looked into his eyes, plucked the fallen rose and tucked it behind Adam's ear. Let's go home. I don't know what Adam thought about every day sitting in the wheelchair during those years of solitary revenge. Nor can I imagine how he grew up. Now I can't even imagine how he coped knowing that everything was just a novel and all the suffering he endured was due to the plot. How did he know the predetermined ending yet still strive to live? I held Adam's face and looked at him carefully for a long time. You've taken good care of yourself these years. Here's your reward. His voice was hoarse. What reward? The reward is having a perfect husband like me. Do you like it? He nodded very obediently. I like it. He's so cute. I gave him a smooch on the face and moved my hand down, trying to undo the buttons of his shirt. I fumbled for 5 minutes but couldn't undo them. Adam was holding back his laughter so hard that his chest was vibrating. I was both ashamed and annoyed. I sat on Adam's lap and pressed him against the wheelchair. Be more proactive. Otherwise, I won't show mercy later. Adam put one hand around my waist and slowly undid the buttons with the other. Do you like being on top? I honestly analyzed, not really. Actually, I'm just too lazy to move. But since you're not physically convenient, I'll work harder. You just enjoy. Hey. Adam picked me up. I instinctively wrapped my legs around him, afraid of slipping. How? Won't show mercy? Oh no, I'm done for. I buried my head in his neck and laughed awkwardly, begging for mercy. No, I was just talking nonsense. You also said my kidneys were weak. And that I was old. I was thrown onto the bed. Adam supported the back of my head. He was hovering over me with all the buttons undone, showing his firm muscles. His voice was hoarse. Let me work harder. After all, you've worked so hard pushing my wheelchair before, Thomas. Now, it's time for me to repay you. He repaid me all night. The next day, he even made wolfberry tea for me. He's so petty. I'm really touched to tears. As Adam promised, he no longer targeted Lincoln and left the last shred of dignity. However, he never promised not to touch the Lynn family. During the time when Lincoln was in custody without the resistance of the male lead, he dug out the evidence that the Lynn family had maliciously financed against the Gu family back then. On the day Lincoln was released, the two old folks of the Lynn family had just been sentenced to prison. Lily was crying so hard at the entrance of the detention center that she was out of breath, asking Lincoln to seek justice for her parents. Adam and I were standing right next to them. Meeting Lincoln's complicated gaze, I said coldly, the evidence is conclusive. You were young at that time and innocent. But if you're talking about seeking justice, that's just too absurd. Lily, didn't the moral education classes in primary school teach you the concept of right and wrong? The great feud has been avenged. My dear husband won't pursue it anymore. If you two really love each other, the downfall of the Lynn family won't prevent you from being together. You two have hands and feet and savings. Just go live your own lives. Anyway, your love is the most important thing. Seeing Lily's ugly expression, I pressed on. Covering my mouth in feigned surprise and blinking innocently, I said, you won't break up because of such a natural thing, will you? Surely not. Lincoln left silently, still clutching that piece of evidence in his hand. Lily staggered after him. I had no interest in their entanglement at all. Linking arms with Adam, I left and said, how about having spicy crayfish for lunch? I've been craving it for ages. Adam looked at me with a dark look in his eyes and said, can you eat it? I stopped in my tracks and really felt it. Come to think of it, I really couldn't eat it. I'm so mad. I angrily shook off Adam's hand and said, stop talking. Let's have a 1-minute Cold War. Adam held back his laughter and followed me closely, starting to count down, 60, 50, 9, 1. Then he quickly grabbed my hand and said pitifully, "Time's up. You really know how to play with numbers." I put my arm around his waist and said, "I'll start sending out resumes in a couple of days. When I start making money, I'll secretly go out and eat crayfish by myself." "Okay," Adam unexpectedly agreed easily. "You wouldn't have already said hello to all the companies, would you?" Adam nodded and looked innocent, "But didn't you say before that office romance was interesting? And you wanted to play with me?" I reached out and covered his mouth in broad daylight. "I didn't. Don't talk nonsense." Adam took the opportunity to hold my hand and suddenly quickly put something on my finger. I held it up and saw that it was a plain ring, shining brightly in the sun, matching the one on his hand. He looked at me quietly and said, "Happy anniversary. Today is the first anniversary of our first meeting. So can I have spicy crayfish as an exception today?" Adam sighed and said, "Okay." The gentle sunlight fell on our clasped hands, and the two plain rings emitted a silent and gentle glow. From then on, every day would be a good day.